Perfect. All right. Yeah. So give me a,
There we go.
so give me an update what you guys have been up to.
Sure. So Amit's been working on the setting up sort of the Argo CD part of it, and he's been seeing best practices around. Originally, he had it going through the ingress, and then he read somewhere that it's actually recommended that you don't go through the same ingress as your cluster, and you have it separate for troubleshooting purposes. And he's going to present the. I'll get him to write down the decisions made there of those the reasons.
Okay.
But maybe we can point you to a couple of blogs he's read, but it sort of makes sense to me as well. That yeah, I'll get him to read the blog. So what he's done, Sergio's actually installed Argo. He did it just you can do it in one command. You just kubectl create the YAML. But
Okay,
we've
cool.
actually been trying to do it as like a Helm chart as well. So Emmett's been working on that. Well, we have been doing it as a Helm chart.
So on that front, you may need to reinstall because the cluster name changed.
Okay, that's good.
And I cleaned up the old Azure subscription.
Okay, yeah, it's good the cluster names change, because when you see it in the kube context, it just says AKS cluster, and if you have multiple clusters, it's too hard to distinguish.
Yeah, so let me share my screen real quick.
I seen it last night, it was the same.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm logged in, so resources. Oh, hang on. I'm in the wrong account. Like you said, one of those weird things you got to switch over.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yours not very, doesn't have a good UX.
Not really.
It's my least favorite cloud.
Yeah, I find it hard to navigate. Let's try that one. Looks like Sergio's hopping in here.
Okay. Taras is back from holiday next week as well. He's been on a big holiday through Europe.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. He sent an email, said he was going to drop out of the project, so I don't know how much we're going to what that means. What that means. So we'll see.
Okay, he sent me a message last night, so maybe I don't know. It's been going a little bit slow, but maybe if we're quite close to having some stuff, so maybe if I show him that we're getting somewhere, he might be interested again.
Yeah. Hey, Sergio, just wave.
Hey, sorry, I'm still going to my home, but I want to listen at least.
No problem. Yeah. We won't make you do any demos while you're driving.
Okay. I can do stuff on Kubernetes even if I'm driving. I'm super good on that.
So just to give a rundown, I was telling Brad that I got rid of the old subscription and the new subscription's up and running. The new subscription is the one that starts with like 5A or something like that. Let me see. Yeah, 57B. So that's our new subscription, and that'll carry us through till like June 1st of 2022.
We can rename that as well if you want, instead of having two Microsoft Azure sponsorship names for subscriptions.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Okay, it's just hard. It's just annoying when I go in there and I need to go find which one the cluster's in. But that's fine. I'll just write the subscription.
Yeah, if you let me go ahead and rename it here.
Even if it just has one, like it'll just be different to the other one. Yeah.
So that's We'll see if it takes it. So
Go
when I
for
did
it.
the cleanup, I created a new cluster because it won't let you move shit from one cluster to the next. So I had to create a new cluster. I redeployed the website and the documentation over to the cluster, and also I put those into an Ortelius namespace. So I did separate out the Ortelius namespace. This one I got to delete, but so that's all going to be, it's all good to go. And I got the Linux Foundation to redo the DNS for the ingress into Istio. So our ingress goes to this Istio address as part of that for the cluster. So that's out there. So when you folks are ready to go ahead and install Argo, go ahead. It's all ready to go.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So Sergio, you'll be able to reinstall. We'll have to create a new namespace as well. And then
Yeah, for
reinstall it on
Argo,
that
it's
cluster.
just one file, so it's really easy.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's just one command. Yeah. And then Argo is not as easy as I thought it was. Well, it's not obvious how to do things. So
Yeah.
we've been doing tutorials on it as well. So still going for the same goal as when there's a change made to the repository, we trigger a payload to the API. So the person in my team is making the API to do that as well. So he's made the skeleton API, and now we're just actually trying to figure out how to actually trigger that payload.
Right. And on the in the document, let me share my screen one more time. So Sasha down in South Africa on Discord was saying that he was running into some sprawl around GitOps. So he I asked him to put in a little problem statement of what he has kind of set up as his pipeline process. So it's we can bug them to fill in more details on each one of these, but this is kind of when I was talking with Sime as well. He was on the same page, trying to figure out, what is one of the problems around the GitOps sprawl that you run into. So you're going to have some other data coming in here as well. I don't know what the time difference is between you and South Africa. I think he's asleep now.
It shouldn't be too bad, I think. Actually, no. It's probably the opposite. No, it's probably still fine. Normally, I can either meet people in the morning or night. So,
okay.
I think, yeah.
So that's a resource to touch base with is Sasha, and about what he's running into the sprawl around the GitOps world. And they've implemented Argo, I think, for 10 repos.
Okay.
Now I don't know if that means 10 microservices or if it's 10 different applications, or what the context is of that.
Yeah. So let's just quickly talk over that. So, can you just go back?
Oh, sorry.
I'd just like to maybe talk over exactly. This is really great to see as well. So he's saying that he's using Atlantis for Terraform now, and that still requires a human to approve. So I'm guessing he wants to use Argo instead of Atlantis. Maybe. Okay. And then Ortelius, I need you to, okay, so GitHub repo creation for onboarding the application. So I guess are we saying here that this is almost like a pipeline to build the pipeline? So
I It could be. That is a possibility of, I've heard other people talk about this, a pipeline to build a pipeline, especially when you're have Jenkins pipelines. You can kind of clone an existing like template repo and use that to bootstrap a new application, especially if your applications are all the same. If everything's gonna be a Node.js, that you can bootstrap the repo and get like sample code and stub code to get you going.
Yeah, no, we used to do that. It's quite effective. And then ECR registry for container. So I don't. That's not much context around that. Is that saying that he wants Ortelius to build and push? Or?
No, I think what he's saying is that's just where the AWS is where they're keeping the images.
Okay, and then pipeline for container creation. Okay, so he's using a Jenkins pipeline to build and push the container.
Yeah. So yeah, exactly. That's going to be the build push. Now this one, I don't know what this part means, and I think this is where in the Argo world, they have what's called an environment repo, and that's basically your definition for your application. So if you have multiple microservice repositories, you kind of lump all the manifest files into this environment application repo. So all the manifests live in one place instead of the individual microservice repositories. I think that's what he's talking about, but that's where we'll have to get some more details.
Okay, sure. Emmett just messaged me. He's going to come now, so he'll be able to explain a little bit what I was talking about before.
Okay, cool.
Here he is. And then, okay, they're using database.
Yeah, the other stuff is just, and I don't know what, how Helm, the Argo CD, 3 and 6 relate to each other.
Yeah. And then,
and then
a little bit.
Yeah, and then in this world, if you have a one secret for like a dev cluster, and then you have a different secret for your production cluster in Vault, you're going to have to go and reference. I can't remember if you log into a different Vault or if you just navigate to a different context inside the master Vault, for lack of a better word. Either way, the Argo is going to have to know which secret to go and pull. And that may be where Helm is coming into play, where, saying that we're doing a dev deployment, go pull all the dev secrets, or we're doing in the values file, we're doing a production deployment, go pull the production secrets. We'll have to find out more from Sasha on 6 and 3 and 4.
I mean, I can see, for me, I would probably have HashiCorp Vault in the DevOps cluster that you use for pipelines, etc. And then I guess Dev and Prod could just have their own one. There'll probably be a few vaults going around, but yeah, I'll ask them about that.
Yeah. And then on these, I'm not quite sure, because that sounds more like a Terraform-ish.
Well, I mean, maybe they're saying IAM, if they assign IAM access to the EKS cluster, what permissions they have to deploy or something like that to the container image.
Right.
I'm probably more interested in the proxy config than those. I mean, he's just naming AWS services, but proxy config would be more interesting what he means by that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is the STS going to be used for?
I don't know. This is Sasha. He is one of the Ortelius contributors out of South Africa, out of Cape Town. And on Discord, he was mentioning that he was getting GitOps sprawl. And I said, okay, that's a good it's not a good problem to have, but it's a good problem for us to solve.
Definitely. Yeah. It's
So we need to do some more interrogation of Sasha, and I believe Saim from, I think he's either India or Pakistan.
Pakistan.
Yeah. So Saim had some interesting input as well.
Sorry, I'm thinking that I can do a demo with GitHub. I already use Argo. Usually Argo is just like a syncing server that is like, just be sure that what is on the cluster is what you have on your repo.
Right.
For deployment, usually you just do the strategies about branching to know where to get like some config map, stuff like that. And the last thing I do, like last week, I think so, I do a demo with HashiCorp and Select Secret. For me, I surprisingly think Select Secret make more sense for me, because HashiCorp is like an external API that is like giving you on-demand stuff. But the nice thing about Select Secret from Bitnami is that it's a CRD on the cluster that match a new objects and by a client to exchange the encryption, and then you mark down on the cluster, and on deployment you disencrypt and use it. So it's really nice.
Oh, absolutely. I kind of agree with you on that one, because I was doing some research. So currently I use KubeSec, which is not as good as Select Secrets of Bitnami, but it still uses KMS keys from your cloud provider, and you can put in your secrets, encrypted secrets, into your Git repositories. And then, but the problem is it won't do the sync part of it. You would still use Argo to do that sync. So Bitnami is a more widely used one though compared to KubeSec.
Yes, it's like more on the more native, for saying some way.
Yeah, but so I'm wondering if I wonder, Sergio, if we should schedule some time for you to do a quick demo of what you currently have set up, and so people can get a better context of how Argo is working, in the Ortelius group.
Yeah, okay. Let me deploy some promotion on the environment, some applications. So yeah, let me work on that. Let me give me like a week, I think so.
Yeah, that's no problem. And we could just record it, and then we can just play it that way. So you don't, if you can't make a meeting or something like that, because I know you're really busy, we can just do it that way.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, I will do that.
Awesome.
I have a front end if you need as well, Sergio, if you want to deploy some code for the front end. I did it in the GitOps repo just as like a demo.
Okay, let me schedule some meetings like similar to this time, when I'm being like pushing this on the cluster, working the cluster, and to join us while we're doing preparing the demo. Okay.
Yeah. I'm keen to through the week. Like, we don't have to wait for 2 weeks. We can also have sessions together where we do some of this as well. Maybe that's good collaboration there.
Yeah. Don't worry about tying me in on any of this collaboration that you folks need to do. I just like to see the end results where I don't have to work. Amit, real quick, just to bring you up to speed, on the Azure side, I cleaned up our subscription, and now I renamed the cluster and redeployed everything that was deployed before. So everything's all straightened out. You guys should be able to get in there and do whatever you need on the Azure front.
Sweet.
And do you want to, you were mentioning to me the other night about how Argo shouldn't go through the ingress. Do you maybe want to share with the group your research there?
Oh yeah, I was actually going through a couple of conferences, and that time I also, there was different talks which I went through, and that time one of the things that was repeatedly mentioned was Argo City shouldn't go directly through your Helm, etc. So that should be your first point of contact as soon as you finish running your Terraform script to set up your cluster. And the reason for that is everything related to Kubernetes that is deployed should only be deployed through Argo. So Argo shouldn't go through your ingress controller. It should have its own load balancer. So you henceforth know if Argo failed. You're not trying to debug whether ingress failed, Argo failed, or what is failing. So that's the reason you would first put in a load balancer directly and then Argo CD, and then post that, whatever Kubernetes resources you're deploying goes only through Argo.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I could definitely see on the debugging front that you to be able to, and also you could actually tie that ingress through a firewall to just the Git repo, so
Yep.
you don't have anybody else sneaking in through that ingress as well.
Yeah. So the funny thing is, I've encountered a time where my Nginx had crashed because it was overloaded. So that is the last thing you would want. Argo can't sync because your Nginx crashed, right?
Right.
That's another reason why you would want your application to actually Argo to be separate from Nginx. You can maybe tie one of the URLs of Argo to Nginx, but you should probably have more than one URL in that case.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes total sense. So go ahead and go ahead and set up the Argo. If you need to create namespaces or new ingresses, just go ahead and have at it.
Yeah, I was working on that. I need a little help, maybe a few tips, because first I'm using like Azure, like from end to end. So I'm struggling a little getting the balance to expose the service. So to connect the ingress to the balancing of Azure. So if you can give me some tips about that.
I know a lot about that. Yeah, I know a lot about that. It's it can get frustrating sometimes because the Kubernetes node pool, it can't be, it has to be in a different resource. It has to be in a different resource group to the cluster, and then I can help you there, and maybe you can share some knowledge about your Argo skills as well, which we would like a lot because it's taking longer than we thought. Yeah,
looks an amazing exchange for me, for everyone. Okay,
yeah, no. Yeah.
So the only thing I've been trying to do is to put resources in one of the low cost regions. So it seems like US Central is a pretty cheap region to run in. So that's the only thing, it's not a big deal, but if we can pick a cheaper region, it's not like we need super high performance for what we're doing.
No, absolutely. Yeah. So I think the only time you'll require high performance is if you're doing performance testing to verify. Other than that, shouldn't really matter.
Yeah. Perfect. I always put my own stuff in US as well because Australia is one of the most expensive in the world for cloud computing. Yeah, I never put it in Australia.
I was thinking about that, and I'm just always when you're in cloud, you want to maybe shut down at some point your thing. So I was thinking about scheduling some stuff because I don't know, but at least me, I wasn't using Argo CD, for example. So maybe we can save some money when scheduling things scale down and scale up when we need it, something like that. So
I think the problem
is
the documentation is running on that as well, so it would probably always have to be on.
Yeah, we're running our website and our docs off of that cluster, so we just need to leave it up, and we have plenty of money to back our subscription for the next year. Last year we spent like $7,000 out of the 25,000, so we have room to play.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
Now,
The
just
only difference is probably.
now,
Sorry.
Sergio, don't go and provision one of the enterprise clusters at $5 an hour.
Yeah, I can install OpenShift, but
Yeah. I think if we implement a node autoscaler anyway, so our cluster autoscaler, we should be good, because that will take care if the resources are fewer, then automatically your autoscaler will kick in. It's anyway a good practice to probably configure
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and I think I did put. Let me look at the node pool real quick.
Because you can have, I think, I don't know if I'm talking about GCP here or Azure, they're probably the same, but you can have two node pools. One node pool is for like stuff you like, the resources that you actually need, and then you can have spot instances for your second node pool that you say, I want to buy at 50% price, but you can scale
Yeah.
the other one.
Yeah, I know you could do that in Google, and I wasn't.
You can do it in Azure too.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Azure also, it's called spot instances. In GCP, it's called some other name, but Azure and AWS both call it spot instances.
Yeah, in what is it in Google?
Let me see.
Now I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, I was working on it, but I think it's called transitive or something to that effect. I can't. I'm drawing a blank too.
yeah, but you can run a cron task, a container, like hitting up from time to time to check the activity on the deployment and just scale down. That's the way that when you don't have that by default, because I usually work on containers on premise, so usually we don't work, we don't have like a Google Cloud or Amazon feature. So, but you can do that. It's not so expensive to do or complex to do.
Yeah, so right now it's set up to auto scale, and the minimum node count is 1 and the max right now is 5, and right now it's running at 1. So scaling up to 5 it should take care of all the, that's the max I just set for now. We can go higher than that if we need to.
Don't need to. I mean, we're only just doing like the UI. So
yeah, exactly. All right.
Plus, the number of users are really low.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Sergio, have you in Argo? Have you done any triggers where there's a change to the repository and then that can send an event or a payload, or probably the same thing, but an event to
it's
a external
a
URL?
notification webhook.
Notification webhook. I haven't seen that in the. Maybe there's something else I need to install in Argo, but it's not obvious.
I usually use on a really basic basis. So maybe switching branches and hooking like change. By default, he's going to have a lot of triggers like by default for the healthy checks is always checking that the syncing of the components. So we mainly use it to that to ensure like nobody is touching directly the cluster and the state is the original state or the desired state. So I use it, but by like a complement for deployment, not focuses on GitOps. So I never use like maybe an advanced way to use it. So it's more.
Yeah. I had a question. You have mentioned branches a couple of times. What do you mean? Like, I did not completely understand what you mean by it. You have to set it up for different branches. Like, wouldn't it by default work on all the branches on push to any of the branches automatically?
No, like by default, you select a repo and say, okay, I'm going to deploy on development cluster in the X on the dev branch for say something. So you can
Okay, I understood what you mean.
By the branch.
Yeah,
so based on the branch will deploy to a specific cluster.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand what you mean now.
Yeah, so you have multiple Argo CDs, basically one for each cluster, that are looking at the same repository for the manifest file changes. it can either be each Argo CD, or I believe Argo has like an agent. But basically, the operator in the cluster is going to be looking for back to the repo for a particular change to either like a branch or a tag, or they're introducing something called our application sets, and that will do some templating around directories as well. So that's kind of what they're now. The tricky part is when the problem set that we're looking at with Ortelius is we're looking at managing 100 to 5,000 microservices. So you have we'll keep it simple: 100 microservices, all the manifest files in the same repo, and you get a lot of sprawl on that front. But then also you go through your pipeline, you got the development, and then you got integration testing, and then you may have QA testing. One of our customers has 17 QA environments for one application, and then you have staging, and then you have production. They usually have a UAT or staging and then production. So the pipeline, it can, and managing all the branches and all that can get complicated, I think. And that's part of where I see from the Ortelius side, where we can be pushing information into the Git repo, saying that this is what I want you to make the QA 15 state to be. And we have that information in the UI, and it's minimal information that we need to gather that's different. Maybe it's just the name of the secret, the QA 17 secret versus the QA 15 secret. That would be the only environment change that we would have that would push into the Git repo at that level from the Ortelius side. So that's kind of what I'm kind of envisioning as I'm learning more about the GitOps process.
Yep. And Amit, just a quick question. You mentioned Argo should be the first thing that you install, and it shouldn't be in the Helm chart. Are you saying
No,
that
I mean, you can, no, Helm you can use because like Helm doesn't require Tiller anymore, right? So that's where that problem gets solved. So Helm, you can still use it, or Helm file you can still use. Both of these are external to the actual cluster anyway. So
and also I think customize may be external as well. I know people have been talking about customize as a way to do the templating, and it's a little bit easier than Helm, because you are basically working, from my understanding, don't quote me on this, is that you can take an existing manifest, look for some key value pairs or strings in those YAML files, and replace them pretty easy and keep everything intact. So it's from what I understand, it's a better templating engine than the Helm, where you have to kind of like code what your template looks like, where customize is more on the fly world, is from what I can gather.
I will add the customize on the demo, so we can take a look on at the same time. Okay.
So I am not used customize. What would customize do differently?
It's just a different templating engine.
Okay. But just like substitute Helm, for example, like you would use customize instead of Helm.
Yeah. So like with Helm, you have your values file, and you take the values file in your Helm chart and it kind of merges them together. With customize, you take existing manifest files that don't have any templating like tags in it, and then you can go in and do basically search and replaces against those through customize.
Like a patch. It's like a kubectl.
Yeah, it's like a patch system. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, a demo would be awesome because I haven't used that either, so I'd be very interested in that.
And Brad, it is a preemptible node pool in GCP.
Okay. Yeah, Emmett told me that actually the other day.
Yeah. The problem is I say stuff and I'm like, damn it, I can't get the name anymore.
I
I'm
do.
becoming an old man.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Okay,
Anything else?
Yeah, I guess Sergio, what day works for you? I'm really keen to maybe have a session, like a technical session. What works for you?
Sorry, guys, I'm going to drop. I'm in the supermarket right now. So,
Okay, I'll message you. I'll message you.
let's talk in the chat. And well, if you
Sure.
need any meeting or working session, I'm totally open up to that. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.
All right.
Yeah,
Thanks.
okay.
Bye.
Thanks.
Brad, are
Yeah.
you on the Discord channel or are you only on?
I always use Slack. I don't, to be honest, I don't actually really know how to use Discord. I only see the one channel and I don't understand how it works.
Oh, okay. So
Is there more than one channel? Because I
Yeah.
can just see like when people join and I don't understand how it actually
Yeah.
works.
So if you go to the server and you go to, there's a code of conduct channel. And what you need to do is click on the check mark at the bottom and that'll open up all the other channels.
Okay. Because I was like, why, this is really bad because I can't, like, there's no channels.
Yeah, we'll open up a new world for you now.
Oh, okay. I'm just going to sign into it now.
And if you set it up to get notified, if you get like an app mention, then you can basically leave it closed and jump in when you need to.
I get notifications when someone joins. But that's
Okay,
all.
yeah, because you're popping into the welcome channel.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very interesting. I was meaning to ask about that because I didn't understand.
Yeah, we
I'll
gated
log
the channels. Just this is a Linux Foundation thing that they want everybody to agree to code of conduct.
Yeah, fair enough. It's not obvious. Well, maybe it wasn't. I just didn't see it. Yeah, I'll sign into that after I can't.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, because that way we'll it's easy to get a hold of Sergio through that.
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
That's why I wanted to, and you can just do a direct message to him if you want.
Sure. Yeah, I think this sort of sprint we can sort of put all the pieces together now. We should be able to have some output.
Yeah, I think we're getting our ducks in a row and kind of getting a game plan together. So I think we'll, like you said, we'll start moving along here pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Oh, and Sergio's Discord handle is Forsaker. Let me see if I find it. Yeah, and you'll so it's Forsaker. Let me just share my screen real quick.
Sure.
So you can take a quick capture. But this is his handle.
Oh, okay, yeah. I've been talking to him a little bit on GitHub as well. So
yeah, either way works, whatever.
Okay, and did Taris did he just said he's completely out, did he? Or
yeah, he said he was studying for some certifications and then he had to drop off for a bit.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Yeah, he was nice guy actually. He was nice to talk to.
And so if I'm still, so when you log in, here's the welcome channel that everybody keeps on, you get notifications from, but go to the code of conduct one and just click this check mark.
Okay.
And that
it's on my phone.
Yeah, and that'll open up the rest of the channels that are over here.
Okay, I'll do it on my phone.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, thanks. I wonder how many other people did that.
We've had a couple other people, if they don't read through the welcome message all the way, that they miss it.
Yeah, okay. I'm alive. I've got all my channels now.
Yep, there you are.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you're a verified member now.
Okay.
Awesome. Cool.
All right. Cool. So.
And let me just shoot. Go back to there. So if you go to, I think it was in the dev channel where Sasha.
Oh yeah.
Let me see if I can find it. No, it must have been in the general one. We're not super strict on where people put things, so we try to take longer conversations into the dev channel to keep from annoying people.
Yeah. It's a whole different world now.
Yeah. I don't see it. Just touch base with, here it is.
Okay, cool.
So it's a little bit a ways back, but you'll be able to find them. And Simon's out here as well. They bring up pretty good conversations.
Okay, great. Okay, cool. All right.
Alrighty. It sounds like we're making some pretty good progress.
Yeah, I mean,
some
it's
stuff lined up.
Yeah, it's been a little bit slow, but I think now we've got like 4 people really interested, so I think we'll be able to glue it all together and do some cool stuff.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah.
And if you run into any problems with the Azure side, like permissions or anything like that, just reach out to me and I'll get them.
Yeah.
We'll figure out how to get them sorted out.
Yeah, sounds good.
Like you said, the Azure UI is an interesting world.
It's horrible.
It is so confusing.
I just use the
tell me
CLI.
about it.
The CLI is good. Like at least it does what you want it to do. But
yeah.
All right.
Alrighty, guys. Have a good day and a good weekend.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Take care.
Just talk to you later.
Cheers.
Yeah. Bye.